Man, I'm about to do a pod.
It's Dirty Sanchez.
And I'm playing some music. It ain't my music. Facebook, YouTube, y'all can take it down. Apple Podcast won't. We about to ride out to my boy Apple.
And I know these niggas 12, that boy preteen.
I'm gonna shut up.
These niggas so lame, I don't even wanna pull up on the scene. I'ma just be like Wu-Tang and focus on my cream.
Focus on it.
I was in the project, just looking through the screen. If you don't play like me, you can't be on my team. Don't stay low key, everything I do, that shit serene. But they was calling me Mr. Clark the way I lean. Okay, I swear this, you can't compare this. You make your family feel embarrassed. You move too careless. I might go off the vert like carrots. I will like Ferris. My style the rarest. Me and Trey like niggas in Paris. I feel like Yeezy. Shout out my nigga Weezy. This shit easy. These boy be sleazy. These niggas greasy and get greedy, man. This shit creepy. Gotta feed the fam, feed the streets, and feed the needy. Never turn my back on the team. I know they need me. Keep your eyes open, pay attention. These niggas sneaky. Had to learn from them losses. Hell yeah, I let them teach me. Put it on the line, give me a sack like Vic Beasley. They can't fuck with me. These boys mud and they measly. I know they thought that I was finished. I'm just getting started. My eye on the bulls, I did like I shop at Target. I swear these niggas out here sleep, man. They lethargic. Sit back and paint the picture. I'm a real artist.
I just really had to open up the pod with that because I heard it this weekend and I said, ooh, my boy Oppo done got him one. Shout out to Oppo. Shout out to Trail. I'm sorry, I'm not going to just play a whole song to open up my podcast. And I'm not going to be like Gilly and while I'm be like, even though I feel like Gilly the way I got this hat on, I got this mustache, you know. But I got I ain't got no $1 million. And I'm really not giving no let me stop. So I got a taste of my own medicine this weekend. And it was humbling. And I wish I would have realized it before it was too late. So I was in Cartersville and I was working the Youth Explosion. And I had a great time doing it, by the way. A great turnout from the community. Happy to see that we have youth who are interested in learning, learning on their personal time, whether it was their choice or their parents' choice. Happy to have a great crowd out there. But more importantly, happy that we had adults who were willing to devote their time and resources into these youth, because we don't have to. But it was great, man. Let me tell you, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the team that I worked with. We had a great time. And I enjoyed the kids that I worked with, or the young people that I worked with. Let me not call them kids. But, man, let me tell you, trying to relate to the young men was terrible. Like, they just wouldn't talk. It's like, bro, why are you even here? And then you ask them a direct question, they just look at you. Yeah, I'm good. No, you're not. You're not good. How can I make you? I've been in your shoes. How can I get you there? And then I asked a friend who works with younger people than I do on a much more regular basis. And I was like, bro, I'm not used to not being able to relate to young people like this. He's like, bro, they don't know you. You got to prove yourself to them. And I think that's the difference between the way I was raised and the way that, not even the way I was raised, the society that I grew up in and the society that we live in. Adults have to prove themselves to young people. Like, why should I trust you? Why should I take you seriously? What have you done? And what can you do for me? And as the adult, I'm sitting there and I'm like, you got some nerve, boy. I wish I could just put the gloves on right now. But I remember how I was when I was 16, 17. I'm like, man, y'all got these people coming here trying to tell me how I can be successful. What have they done? Who are they to tell me how to live my life? Oh, man, I became that person. The person who thought because they walked in the room, it was okay. The person who thought that because I'm speaking, people are going to listen. Let me tell you, it was a taste of my own medicine. And I didn't like it. Not at the moment, but now that I've had time to sit back on, I go, man, I wish I would have done this differently. Man, I wish I would have just hopped in a little group with them and talked to them and said, hey, man, what's happening? Let's talk. Let help me meet you where you are. Because I talk so often about leaders having the responsibility of meeting those that they lead at their level and not expecting everybody to be at the leader's level. And I fell victim to the very behavior that I criticize. Players mess up, man. Leaders mess up. But I wanted to bring it here to let y'all know that for one, it happened. And two, I'm happy it happened because I've been doing a lot of podcast talking, but not a lot of stuff in the field, And even some of the stuff that I've been doing in the field, I've been doing it, with different platforms that gave me instant credibility just by showing up. And in this situation, I didn't have that. And that's usually the way I like to work. Like, I don't want the instant credibility when I show up. I want to get in there and I want to earn it. And then I sat back and I was like I was being lazy. I was being a lazy leader. I was being a lazy leader. And don't get me wrong, we got some stuff accomplished, but I was a lazy leader. And, I've got to do better. I've got to do better, man. And let me tell you, another thing that happened there was it made me realize that I live in a false reality. You know, but what do I know? I'm just a big baby, and I'm back. And I'm back. And I'm back. I had to do it to get it right because it was too much. There was too much of a lag in between the two drops. But I'm back. Welcome back. It's been 2 weeks since I've been back here by myself, so I decided to come back and talk to y'all. But yeah, man, I think my reality is a false reality. Because while I was working with these young people, and some of the conversations that we had, it was great, man. Because so my group was sophomores through college kids, sophomores in high school through college kids. And all of the advisors in my group were around about 28, maybe 27. No. 26 to about 32, right? So we're still young adults. We're adults, but we're young adults. And we're trying to figure out adulthood. But with those conversations, a lot of what was being taught to those young people were things that we were experiencing and things that like could be taught to us, So it was super weird because it's almost like us as instructors could have had our own classes or guided discussions without the young people that we were leading that day. And we could have got a lot of learning done. And we had a therapist there. And I'm going to get her on the pod. I mean, we've talked about it, and I've just, you know me, just hadn't done the conversation yet. And we talked about, and some certain topics came up. And one of the things that was talked about was the way Black men have been taught to act and the way that Black men act and why we feel the way that we feel. And I go, I think I'm a Black man. I see Black. I see man. Not gonna check him beneath the tank to make sure, but I got it's there. And I'm like, how can you tell me the Black male experience when I live it? And then I put out my thoughts, I'm like, Yeah, man, all of this cool, tough guy, non-vulnerable stuff, that doesn't fly in any of my friend groups. Maybe at a point it did when we were younger and less mature, but I don't have a person that I call friend that I can't be vulnerable with, that I haven't been vulnerable with, who hasn't been vulnerable with me. So I don't know if I live in a alternate universe. I don't know. But I know that the black men in my life, and there are a lot of them, a lot of black men, pause, if you needed that, who are in my life, and there's a lot of vulnerability when it's necessary. So this idea that black men can't be vulnerable with each other, to me, that's a farce. I can't even listen to somebody talk about that because I, I don't know that to be reality. Last night, me and my woman, we cried. We cried together. Yeah, me and my partners. Yeah, we've cried together. Yeah, we've done it in church, in public. That's happened before. Hell, that was before I could buy a beer. Over 10 years ago. Yeah. So this idea that I think we've gone too far with how we are telling black men that they've been told what they were supposed to be. Yeah, man, we just been telling black men they have to be hard, they can't have emotions. No, no, no. I think we've been taught emotional maturity. I think we've been taught to, not live and die off of emotion, not to live and die off of your feelings, but to control your feelings in environments where your feelings are not welcomed. But I don't know a man it, who can't go talk to their mama about problems that they have, who can't go cry to their mama. There are very few people who I know that are like against going to therapy, you know. So when I think about this, and I think, are we perpetuating, are we pushing these stereotypes that we think exist because of our lack of experience in the field? Maybe it's my lack of experience. Or are we assuming that these stereotypes are the norm because they're the stereotypes? Um, Reading this book, Critical Race Theory, and it talks about the strength of stereotypes. And when you create a new one, it doesn't erase the old one because the old one has standing power. It's been there forever. So that's the lasting narrative. So maybe the paradigm has shifted with black men and their sensitivity, because I listen to rap music and I hear emotions. I hear feelings. I hear a lot of introspection. You know what I mean? And these are some of the loudest voices in our community. And it doesn't matter the generation. 444 Jay-Z, that was very introspective. Future, he gets in his introspective bag when he needs to. You know? Young boy. RIP XXX Tentacion. There are rappers who really get into their feelings. And not that they get into their feelings. Like, I was listening to Nardo Wick this morning, and I go, he's saying a lot of gangster stuff, but he also saying some real interest. Yeah, he's in touch with his feelings. He's in touch with his emotions. I think as a society, we're selling black men short by saying that society has told us that we can't be emotional, because we can be, and we are. I think the problem is black women are telling us that we can't be emotional. And that's the problem. But what do I know? I'm just a big baby, and I'm back. I'll tell you what, though, social media is killing reality. And that kind of, it goes into what I was just saying. Social media has so much power over us because we spend so much of our time on social media. Like our reality is shaped by social media, and so much of what is put on social media is fake. I rarely post like actual posts on my social media, especially posts of my real life. Like every now and then I'll post, you know, some content, but rarely do I post what I'm actually doing day to day, week to week, month to month, year to year. If you go through my feed, you don't really have an idea of the life that I'm living. And that's by design. Now imagine building your perspective of who I am as a person based off of what I put on social media. You don't know me. So, how is it that we as people we take social media so seriously, knowing that we knowing that we don't present our true selves on social media, but we think everybody else does. We go, "Oh, I'm the anomaly. I'm the only one who's going to just, show little pieces of myself. Everyone else, they're authentic, they're real." No, they're not. Oh yes, Miss Bobby Jean Lane, I'm here every week. Only took last week off. I love it. Thank you. Appreciate the support. But no, we really think everybody else is being themselves on social media, and we give them the benefit of the doubt, and then all of a sudden we find ourselves in a false reality in real life. Because we spent so much time in the false reality that is social media, and we treat that as it is reality. And instead of spending our time in reality, real life, we've made our real life a false reality, and we've made social media our true reality. It's crazy. It's crazy. But I want y'all to keep thinking about that. I want y'all to keep thinking about how social media and the internet creates a false reality for us, and we allow that to be our dominant reality. It speaks to comfort. A lot of people are comfortable. What would you rather do? Sit on a couch or sit on nails? I know most of y'all would sit on nails, especially people like my friends Todd, VJ, Rue, Shaw. See, they soft. They soft as hell. They softer than the couch they sit on. Me, I like to sit on nails because I'm hard. I like the discomfort. I'm comfortable when I'm uncomfortable. You understand what I'm saying? So when you hard like me, you choose nails every day. You understand me? I could have a gamer's chair that would be ergonomically efficient for my back. Why would I do that? I'm hard. I'm joking, but the point that I'm making is that social media creates a safe place for us to be who we want to be, whereas reality creates a real place for us to be ourselves. Run that back. Social media creates a safe place for us to be who we want to be. Reality creates a real place where we have to be ourselves. And so, because you can create this persona on social media, I've seen it 1,000 times. I've been it. Let me tell you what. 2015 to 18, I was a party boy. I was out in San Diego living it up. Anybody who saw my social media would have thought, dang, boy, hey, see, big baby boy, he out there having fun. I have fun probably 4-5 hours a week. The rest of the week, I'm miserable. I'm depressed. I was lonely. Yeah, it looked good. It looked good on social media. It didn't feel good on the inside. Didn't feel good at all on the inside. And if that's what I am on social media, or I was on social media, how many of you are the same person going to a place to project? You know, the bully. Let me pick on you because you're less than. I ain't less than. You just got a terrible home life. You make bad grades. So you want to make me feel less than because you ain't happy with yourself. Yeah. That's the same thing. Social media is the bully. The bully goes to school to project and make people think all these extra things about them that ain't true. And that's what we do on social media. Like I be seeing some of these women, they be showing off they expensive clothes, they expensive shoes, and all they travels. I be like, you ain't having fun. You crying out for help. I got some partners who can help you, but I ain't got nothing for you. I ain't got nothing for you. But no, man, live in reality and get out of this false reality, because what happens is if you live in this false reality for too long, you might end up gone, like Alex Jones. Okay, so I think the Alex Jones piece is something worth talking about. Now, I'm not going to get too deep into who Alex Jones is and everything that he's discussed and what he's talked about. Why? Because he's not worth my time. But Alex Jones has found himself in a tough spot because those parents from Sandy Hook are tired of him, you know, talking noise, and now they got him hooked, and he's on the hook for a lot of dough. Gotta let it show. I love the dough. Oh, I love the dough more than you know. So if you're familiar with Alex Jones, then you know that he is a conspiracy theorist. He is one who peddles a lot of far right that turn into far left conspiracies, right? So one big one was that he believed that he did not believe that Sandy Hook truly happened, and he thought that they were paid actors. He's a Pizzagate guy, you know. He, I want to say he doesn't believe in the election results. You know, he's out there, and he's been removed from various platforms because of his wild views, because it goes beyond free speech, right? And we'll get into that a little bit later. You know what? Let's start it off, right? Because Alex Jones being sued and having to come out of large sums of money in the state of Texas and next the state of Connecticut, is all centered around free speech. And people are Americans don't really understand what free speech is. We'll be like, well, that's against free speech. You know, he has free speech. Yeah. There are constraints to free speech, believe it or not. So let's talk about freedom of speech. And I take this from uscourts.gov, comes from the government and the courts, okay? So what does free speech mean? Among other cherished values, the First Amendment protects freedom of speech. The U.S. Supreme Court often has struggled to determine what exactly constitutes protected speech. The following are examples of speech, both directed words and symbolic actions, that the court has decided are either entitled to First Amendment protections or not. The First Amendment states in relevant part that Congress shall make no law abridging freedom of speech. That happened back in the 1700s. Now, today, freedom of speech includes the right not to speak, specifically the right to not salute the flag, West Virginia Board of Education versus Barnett. I mean, you can not do something. Freedom of speech includes the right of students to wear black armbands to school to protest the war. Students do not shed their constitutional rights at the schoolhouse gate. So pretty much that's Tinker versus Des Moines. So pretty much like if you have an issue with something with the government, you can do that, and the school can't tell you that you can't do that, despite what the school will tell you. Freedom of speech includes the right to use certain offensive words and phrases to convey political messages. So you can say "fuck the police," and that's protected. You might not be able to say "fuck you, officer," but you can say "fuck the police." Okay. Freedom of speech protects the right to contribute money under certain circumstances to political campaigns. Buckley v. Vallejo. Yeah, if you go to Citizens United, it really shows you how much money you can really spend on the campaigns. Another example of freedom of speech that is protected to advertise commercial products and professional services with some restrictions. Virginia Board of Pharmacy versus Virginia Consumer Council, and Bates versus State Bar of Arizona. And lastly, the last form of freedom of speech that is protected is to engage in symbolic speech, i.e., burning a flag in protest. You can do that. Okay. Can't burn people, but you can burn the flag. Now, freedom of speech does not include the right to the following. I think this is important. Incite imminent lawless action. Brandenburg v. Ohio. January 6th. That's what we're talking about. To make or distribute obscene materials. Roth versus United States. I can't just be sending out revenge porn all over the internet. You know what I mean? That's not freedom of speech. To burn draft cards as an anti-war protest. United States v. O'Brien. Hey, bro, if you get drafted, you gotta go. You gotta go. You gotta go. Also, to permit students to print articles in school newspaper over the objections of the school administration. And I find that funny because I know a teacher who deservedly got asked to leave because she decided to allow the students to bash the school inside the school newspaper and bash administration. And guess what? Administration wasn't rocking. And I think that makes sense because that goes against what the purpose of the school is. And especially at the secondary and below level, I think that ignorance is bliss, and sometimes you don't need that investigative journalism going on in the school that goes against the interests of the school. Because I'm sorry, I just don't. Not asking 17-year-olds for their investigative journalism. Forgive me for wanting somebody with a little bit more experience and wisdom. Also, of students to advocate illegal drug use at school-sponsored event. Hey, bro, you can't just smoke weed out here. Nah, cuz that ain't happening. Disclaimer, these resources are created by the Administrative Office of the U.S. Courts for use in educational activities only. They may not reflect current state of the law and are not intended to provide legal advice, guidance, or litigation or commentary on legislation. Oops. But here they provide a frame of reference for our conversation. And what I think we're going to get into here is Alex Jones is guilty of hate speech. That's what I believe. I believe he's guilty of hate speech. And although there's no legal definition of hate speech, here's what we got. Under the First Amendment, jurisprudence, goodness gracious, can I read? Hate speech can be only criminalized when it directly incites imminent criminal activity or consists of specific threats of violence targeted against a person or group. And that's where Alex Jones gets hurt here, right? Because he goes on his air and he says what he wants to say out of his mouth. Do I agree with what he said? No. Do I think it was appropriate to say what he said? Hell no. But here's where he's no longer protected by the Constitution. Some of those Sandy Hook families need. Okay, somehow got muted. Don't know the last thing I said, but some of those families, Alex Jones hate speech. Some of those families, they needed protection. Those families received threats. Why? Because of the incendiary things that he was putting out there. Now, I ask, what type of person is willing to speak ill of the dead. And now it came out that he knew that Sandy Hook was a real thing. His lawyer accidentally sent the information to the other side and did not take any steps to ensure that information was privileged. So he wanted Alex Jones to go down, if you ask me, allegedly. But the confusing piece here is, why would you attack these people? What do you have to gain? Who is putting money in your pocket to make you push this narrative? There's so many narratives out there that you could take and you could have a little bit of leeway, but this one is like, hey, bro, if he did, he did. And if they're not, I don't want to be the guy to uncover it. I don't. Let those people cook. And I think one of the worst things that he did was he didn't show up to trial every day. No. He stayed in his lair and he was live streaming his trial in order to feed his fans. So he made a mockery of it. He made a show of it. He thought it was all fun and games. And even if you listen to him when he's on the stand, he's trying to dictate it and treat it like it's his show. Like, hey, man, answer the question. And he's trying to make content out of it. I love content. I love content. But I'm not that crazy about making content that the lives of people, the lives of dead people the lives of dead children will be disrespected in the sake of content. You know? But here's the thing, man. He has a following. Like, he makes all of this money. He has this clout. The reason why these people were threatening these parents was because he has a following. And how sad is our society that we have large groups of our people who don't believe that a massacre happened at a school. Like, I'm going to ask the mainstream media, how much bullshit have you fed the American people to the point that there are large sums of people who are willing to believe that a mass shooting is a farce, is a conspiracy? As much as we want to punch on Alex Jones, as much as we want to punch on his believers, his followers, his flock, you got to go, well, what have we done around him to enable this? Because it is beyond me that people will really believe that and mobilize against this. Like, no, this never happened. No, it was paid actors. We believe, paid actors. That tells me the media has no credibility. People don't believe in the media. And I don't blame them. Hell, why did I have to find out that Pete, whatever his name is, Skeet, proposed to Kim K, and she's like, hey, yo, bro, you doing too much. Oh, yeah, you think? He's 28, you're 40. He's trying to get you knocked up. He got 3 tats. When he got the first one, you should have left his crazy ass and went back to Ye. Or just did whatever you wanted to do, you know. Pick your strand is crazy. But no, like, I be finding out people broke up and I didn't know they was going together. Why? Because it's payola out here. The media is for sale. The media, instead of being journalists, the mainstream media, instead of being just good journalists, looking for information and providing and pushing that back, everybody wants to be a columnist. Everybody wants to have an opinion, including me. And we all want to push our values. We want to push our beliefs. But at what point do we care about what the people believe? At what point do we care about our credibility? You know, it drives me up. Alex Jones makes millions of dollars peddling blatant lies. Who's worse? him or the flock? Who's worse, the shepherd or the sheep? I mean, I guess we expect the shepherd to guide the sheep the right way, but these sheep, they had their choice of shepherd. So they dumb sheep. Was he a bad shepherd? Or is he like in the frame of Hitler, bad message, but good execution? What do I know? I'm just a big baby. All right, man. Look here. Go ahead. Come after me. Tell me I'm a bootlicking trustee. Tell me I don't support black women. Tell me I don't support the LGBTQ plus community. Tell me whatever you want to tell me. I'll tell you all of those things aren't true. But if we bring BG home, that better be a prison exodus. Let me tell you. Now, I can disagree with the 9-year sentence that came from Russia, but I can also understand that this is a high-profile American, while America is supporting a country that Russia is in war with. What do you think's gonna happen? Justice. Only justice I know is my homeboy in the group text. Shout out to Hoos. I'm gonna whoop his ass in one-on-one when we play. But no, I say that because there are talks of giving up the Merchant of Death, international arms dealer for Brittney Griner, an NBA player, WNBA player, excuse me. She could never make the league. Who got caught with like 0.7 grams of hash oil in a vape. Now has 9 years in Russia. I saw a post about some white woman who had more weed and got less time, and they made it a race thing, and I'd say it's probably more of a timing thing given the conflict with Russia and Ukraine and the $550 million we've sent to the Ukraine, okay? So to frame it there, let's have a conversation. I support the United States bringing Brittney Griner back. Only if we are going to apply the same punishment to other Americans who receive weed cases, nonviolent weed sentences, okay? If we're gonna free her, I mean, and granted, she had a small amount. It was a user's amount. Why would we keep the users locked up here, stateside? Don't make sense. Like, what makes her any better than them? She was using in a place where it wasn't allowed and got caught. Okay. If you're a weed user and you got your weed man locked up, if you're just a weed man, no violent crimes, you just sell weed. Well, why? If the person who's buying the weed can get off. Well, shit, we should let the person who's selling the weed get off, right? Yeah, that makes sense, right? So the only way I'm going to support the prison swap without Brittney Griner sitting in American prison is if we free all the people with weed convictions in America. Because if we take this stance that we're going to allow her to get away with having a controlled substance in a place where it's not allowed, and it's okay because it happened in a foreign country and because she's a WNBA superstar or star. I don't think they have any superstars in that league. Sorry. No disrespect to the league. I just don't think it's that big. Maybe Diana Taurasi, maybe Sue Bird, maybe. And maybe Liz Cambridge on OnlyFans, right? But no, if we're going to allow her to do her 160 days, and we're going to call that, hey, She did the crime. She did her time. And we don't let other Americans go for similar crimes. Then what are we doing here, man? What are we doing here? Are we actually getting her out because she deserves to be out, or are we just doing it because we want to silence the loud voices who don't know shit, right? We just want to shut up Twitter. Everybody out here saying, free Brittney Griner, free BG, she should be on the court right now. What about that man that should be at home right now with his kids? What about that mother that should be home with her kids right now? What about the kid that should be home with his parents, with her parents because of weed? Brittney Griner ain't bigger than the law. I know she's 6'8", but she ain't bigger than the law. She's not bigger than American law. She's not bigger than Russian law. She's not bigger than drug reform. She's not. And if we're going to make her the poster child for a true change in drug reform in America, I totally support it. But if she's going to be the one-off, fuck that. Leave her over there. If she's going to be the one who gets to just get a slap on the wrist and return to her glamorous life because she has some notoriety and she had a little bit of weed on her, and we're not going to free the people who have no notoriety, they don't have a social media backing, they don't have billionaires and millionaires saying free him, free her, and she's the one that gets to go. That's the reason why the folks don't trust the media, bro. That's the reason why the folks don't trust the institutions, because y'all help y'all's own, but y'all don't help the one who need it. Y'all continue to help the haves. Y'all don't want to help the have-nots. Oh, no. He have not, so we can't help him. He can't do nothing for me. I got to leave him there. Well, shit. I mean, damn. I got partners with weed convictions. Expunge them. Nah, I don't even expunge them. Erase them. Delete. If we free BG, if y'all bring BG back, that should automatically make marijuana federally legal in the United States of America. We're gonna give up a man who been selling guns. I'm talking about I got army guns. I got army. Yeah, we gonna get army guns come back and float around here and float around in Russia and get back to selling army guns. We gotta free everybody who don't smoke, who got locked up on weed, man. Sorry, got to. Come on, man. The NFL confuses me. Confuses the hell out of me. Not on Sunday. No. Just in the off season. Just the league office, honestly. So let's talk about Deshaun Watson. This entire case confuses the hell out of me. No legal charges, got it. Civil suits, hella. Decides to settle so it can go away. He can move on with his life. Okay. Submission of guilt, even if he's not guilty. What's done was done behind closed doors. Yes, there are direct messages that can kind of paint a picture, but they don't really tell you anything. All right. Deshaun Watson obviously displayed a level of behavior that was not acceptable by somebody who you want to be the face of your business. And the unfortunate part about being a face of a business is allegations hurt too. Not just what's true, but allegations hurt because they take away from the business. It just is what it is, my nigga. What's the deal? Okay. So I put that there. And I don't defend Deshaun's alleged actions. From what I've read and what I've heard, I think he's a little weird. I'd like to hear his off the record side of the story, because I think it paint a much better picture of what happened, but that's never gonna happen, okay? So I was having a conversation with the wife about this, the Deshaun Watson thing, right? And I said, so at what point do these women just walk out of the room and say, no, I'm not doing this? Say, no, bro, I'm not rendering services. And her response is, some people aren't as strong and they just can't do that. And I go, well, that's their fault. That's a them problem. And I don't say that to defend him because again, I by no means do I condone what he was doing. That's not okay. When you have that many allegations, that tells me you're doing something that's not up to snuff. Okay? You're making people uncomfortable at the least. But at the worst, I don't know what you're doing. Right? But then when she tells me that everybody's not that strong, and I go, well, if you continue to do something that makes you uncomfortable, at what point are you still a victim? I ain't victim shaming. I want all victims to get the healing that they need, and the ones who victimize them to get the punishment and the healing that they need, so that we move further as a society, right? But this right here, because he originally got 6 games. Okay. NFL didn't like that. They wanted a season. But they farmed it out to an arbiter. She said 6 games. Roger Goodell done caught hell for his weak punishment or his strong punishment. He's caught it on both ends. And he was like, you know what? Y'all got it. They got it, but you don't like it, so you appeal. Obviously, the PA is gonna appeal because it's like, hey, bro, like, what are we doing here? And this is where the NFL confuses me. How in the world do you have a third party do something, but then if you don't like what the third party does, you're going to use your veto power to step over the third party? That would make sense to me if you hadn't been wrong on suspensions all along. If you didn't have a track record of being bad at suspending players, that I was like, you know what, Roger Goodell, you have some credibility to do what you're doing, but to say, hey, you know what? I don't like what this third party person said. Let me go to another third party. Why? Because you're trying to please the casual fans. You're trying to please the loud voices in the room, but not the big money spenders. I promise you. I promise you, because here's the thing. Football fans are going to go watch football. Because see, here's the thing about football fans. A lot of football fans don't invest into the lives of those who play football. They invest into the product they put on the field. Those are most football fans. Now, your Twitter fans, the wives of some of these football fans, maybe some of your sponsors feel a little bit differently. Maybe. But at the end of the day, call me crazy, I don't think the NFL should leverage punishments on players at all. I think that punishment should be leveraged by law and by teams. Because if a team is not willing to accept a player based on what he's done in the public, he won't work. Ray Rice hasn't played since he went oops upside the head, right? He went oops upside the head. He went oops upside the head. And he hasn't played since. So the league, each individual team made a decision. Maybe the league did with a little mandate. Hey, y'all know, don't do it. Said, nah, man, we don't want you to be a part of what we're doing. And I think that's how the league should go. I don't think Roger Goodell, who works for the owners, should be able to punish players. Let the teams punish the player. And if the team chooses not to punish the player, and let that team deal with the backlash that comes with that. Yeah. Small government, states' rights. Let the individual team choose who they want to choose and deal with with the backlash that comes with that. Because I think that the Cleveland Browns said, you know what, we're comfortable with what he did or didn't do. We want him to be the face of our organization, and we don't give a damn about what happens. Because you people who want punishment for other people, y'all confuse me. Why do you want somebody to be punished? Does that person affect you? Do their actions affect you? Does their life affect you? Does their punishment affect you? What does it do for you to see somebody get punished? I think Deshaun Watson should get a whole season. Why? Why? The law says he shouldn't go to jail. The civil suits was handled the way they was handled, so he was punished through his civil suits. Why should he be like? And this ain't just Deshaun Watson. This is anybody. Because I'm not defending Deshaun Watson. What I'm saying is, why should I get punished 17 times for something that I did? Like who? What does it mean to you? You can't tell me what it means to you, because all you're doing is trying to prove to the world that you are morally right. You have you're headed the right place. You are a morally conscious human being who wants to do the right thing for all the right reasons, and you think that this person doesn't have the right to do what they are destined to do because of their talents and skills, because they are not morally in line with you. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just moral posturing. It's just moral posturing. It's just somebody who wants to let the world know that they're better than everybody else. It's somebody who wants to let the world know that, oh man, I think this way, man. I am enlightened. Let's look in your closet. What did you do wrong? What have you done historically? That's why the older and older I get, the less and less inclined I am to judge people in their missteps, because I go, you know what? I done messed up before. I've believed some things that I shouldn't have believed. I probably believe some things now that I won't believe in 5 years. You know why? Because I'm a work in progress. He ain't done with me. No. I'm still growing. I'm still growing. You know, like a plant. You know what I mean? Like you might propagate a little bit something and you grow it over there, but the main plant, the main vein, we still growing. Yeah, we still growing. And when I say these things, I don't say this to defend people's nasty, disgusting actions, but what I do is I defend society's right to accept them. If you want to get in bed with a freak, if you want to get in bed with a creep, if you want to get in bed with a molester, well, don't be mad when they are at Chester. I can't. No. Mm-mm. That's why I'm okay with people getting aired out. Get aired out. But if the market wants you, let the market have you. Let the market make the decisions. Now, if Roger got a deal, guys are coming through. We're a high moral league. I mean, we've hid information about concussions. We support misogynistic views, but you know what, Deshaun Watson, you got caught. Bada boom, bada bing. We're gonna punish you more than we're gonna punish the team that enabled your behavior. I bet y'all won't suspend the Texans for a year. Yeah, too much lost income. You see what I'm saying? Players abuse them. Owners, I'm on arrest. Y'all saw what happened in Miami. Y'all see what's happening in Washington. Snyder ain't even got to show up. I'll take it from my yacht. Yeah. That's the thing, man. This life. But as I close out here, man, the feeling, the vibe of this podcast has just been distrust in people, distrust in institutions, distrust in everything that we believe in, and it's unfortunate. I hate it. but I do think we have a political answer, and that's the Forward Party. Now, the Forward Party hasn't given us much on what they're doing yet, but from the members of the party, uh, from what I've read about the party, is it's a party that's not left, it's not right, it's forward. It's about progress. And the way that the left is responding to the Forward Party gives me a lot of confidence that the Forward Party is going to take the place of the modern day Democrat Party. Because the Forward Party is a Democrat Party of the 90s, a moderate party with a left lane. And moving forward, what I hope this party does is I hope it swoops up the people who I've been talking about. The people who aren't here, we're here. And instead of clinging to those who are here and here, we're going to cling to each other and we're going to move forward, right? Because I think if we keep moving left and right, we'll never move forward. And that's where I see our country going left and right. But with the Forward Party and with some of the shakeup that we're seeing, I'm looking forward to seeing where this party goes. I'm looking forward to seeing whether it creates, I mean, even if it doesn't create a lasting new party, maybe it does what the Tea Party does. Maybe it refocuses one of these main parties to think about the people and remember that, hey, just because you're a government official, because you are, you took an oath to do what you do, doesn't mean that you are the end all be all. Remember that the people matter and the people don't want to move left and right. We, the people, we want to move forward. And I hope we can do that sooner rather than later. Big baby, yeah.